Video news format tailored for an international audience interested in Korea.
The Korea Briefing is a weekly video news format tailored for an international audience interested in Korea, ranging from experts in geopolitics, politics, and economics to global fans of Korean culture. Part 1, Geopolitics, Domestic Politics, Security, and Economy. KB01, Government launches 7 strategic future projects. The South Korean government intends to develop 7 key technologies into new engines of economic growth. Its 7-seed program covers small modular reactors, nuclear fusion, renewable energy, quantum technology, aerospace, advanced biotechnology, and sophisticated supply chains for materials and components. By 2029, South Korea plans to develop a domestic 100-qubit quantum computer. A Korean moon landing is scheduled for 2030, while small modular reactors are expected to enter commercial use from 2035. The country also intends to increase the recycling of strategic raw materials and expand reserves of critical resources. The program responds to growing international competition in advanced technology. South Korea aims to build on its strengths in semiconductors while reducing its long-term dependence on individual industries. Research institutions, companies, and the government are therefore expected to cooperate more closely. The government regards the program as both an economic initiative and a contribution to the country's technological and energy independence. KB02, 41 countries call for advance notice of missile tests. South Korea, the United States, Japan, and 38 other countries have warned of the risks posed by unannounced missile tests in the Pacific. The signatories criticized recent tests that allegedly failed to follow internationally accepted procedures for advance notification and collision avoidance. Although China was not named directly, the statement is widely regarded as a response to Chinese missile tests. According to the participating countries, unannounced tests of nuclear-capable missiles threaten the security of neighboring states. Missing information about timing, flight path, and target area could lead to military misinterpretation and unintended escalation. The countries are therefore calling for launches of intercontinental ballistic missiles, submarine-launched ballistic missiles, and space launch vehicles to be announced at least 24 hours in advance. Existing international warning systems should also be expanded. The initiative is particularly important for South Korea. The country faces North Korea's missile program and lies in a region where China, Russia, Japan, and the United States are increasing their military activities. KB03, President Lee calls for preparation beyond the AI boom. President Lee Jae-myung has called on South Korea to use the current semiconductor upturn to establish the economic foundations for the period beyond today's AI boom. Technological development cycles are becoming shorter, he warned, and countries or companies that miss such changes could fall permanently behind. The 7 strategic fields comprise small modular reactors, nuclear fusion, renewable energy, quantum technology, aerospace, advanced biotechnology, and sophisticated materials, components, and supply chains. They are intended to become new growth engines and strategic assets for South Korea's economic and national security. Lee referred to the currently strong demand in the semiconductor industry. However, this success must not lead to complacency. South Korea needs to open up new technological markets early. The government therefore plans to provide stronger support for research, business creation, and the commercialization of new technologies. Scientific results are to be transformed into internationally competitive products and major new projects. KB04, special law to enable everyday use of mobile robots. South Korea's Ministry of Land, Infrastructure and Transport is preparing a special law to facilitate the safe commercial use of mobile robots. These include autonomous or remotely controlled systems used for deliveries, transportation, parking services, electric vehicle charging, security checks, and maintenance work. Until now, such robots have mainly operated in test zones or individual buildings. The proposed law would enable their use in residential complexes, car parks, public urban spaces, and construction sites. Existing regulations governing buildings, pathways, and technical facilities would be adapted accordingly. Binding operating and safety standards, minimum technical requirements, and clear responsibilities in the event of accidents are planned. Procedures for investigating damage would also be established. The ministry intends to discuss the proposals with around 40 Korean robotics companies. Legal uncertainty is to be reduced without endangering pedestrians or other road users. South Korea hopes this will accelerate the practical deployment and commercialization of its robotics technology. KB-05 Japan invests heavily in its return as a semiconductor power. Japan is attempting to regain its former importance in the semiconductor industry through government subsidies and foreign capital. Since 2021, overseas manufacturers have invested approximately 6 trillion yen, around 53 trillion Korean won, in Japanese production sites. Taiwanese chipmaker TSMC is expanding production in Kumamoto together with Sony. Investment in 2 factories there exceeds 3 trillion yen. Micron is building an advanced memory chip production line in Hiroshima, while Tower Semiconductor is also investing in Japan. In the late 1980s, Japanese manufacturers controlled more than half of the global market. Following Japan's economic downturn and the rise of South Korea and Taiwan, their share temporarily fell to around 10%. Japan is now supporting KiiiKii's memory chip expansion and Rapidus's development of 2nm production. However, the total investment remains smaller than the major projects planned by Samsung Electronics and SK Hynix. Japan must also develop more chip design companies and stronger domestic demand. Part 2 to K-Culture, Sport, Lifestyle and Travel. KB-06, KCON Los Angeles brings together 36 Korean artist teams. A total of 36 Korean artist teams and cultural figures will appear at KCON LA 2026 from 14 to August 16. Events will be held at the Los Angeles Convention Center and Crypto.com Arena. KCON is one of the largest international festival formats combining concerts with a broad presentation of Korean popular culture. The musical lineup includes Racine, Treasure, Zero Basion, IZNA, Illit, and Team, Tomorrow X Together, and NCT 127. 101 will return to a KCON stage for the first time since 2017 with a special performance featuring 9 members. In addition to K-pop, the festival will present Korean television series, films, food, and other cultural offerings. Guests include musician Hwang So-yoon, Chef Edward Lee, and actors Lee Jun-hyuk and Park Eun-bin. KCON therefore serves simultaneously as a concert, fan gathering, and international showcase for South Korea's creative industries. It uses K-pop as a gateway to generate worldwide interest in other Korean cultural content. KB-07, Korean language education expands through the Korean wave. The international popularity of K-pop and Korean television series is increasing interest in the Korean language. Special Korean language classes are now offered in 51 countries. The Korean wave is therefore influencing not only the consumption of music, series, and films, but increasingly education and cultural exchange. Many fans want to understand lyrics, interviews, and television programs in the original language. Others study Korean because they intend to study, work, or travel in South Korea. This is creating new programs at schools, universities, cultural institutes, and private education providers. Streaming services regularly expose viewers to the Korean language and everyday culture. K-pop groups reinforce this effect through international fan platforms, social media, and concert tours. The development is also important for South Korea's cultural policy. People learning Korean often engage more deeply with the country and consume additional Korean cultural content. In the long term, South Korea's creative industries, tourism sector, universities, and companies may all benefit. KB-08, K-food becomes an integral part of travel to Korea. South Korea welcomed more than 10 million international visitors during the first half of 2026. At the same time, Korean food is becoming an important part of their travel spending. In the second quarter, 80.1% of foreign travelers went shopping during their stay. Food products were purchased by 56.9% of respondents, placing them second only to cosmetics. Demand is not limited to instant noodles or traditional specialties. International visitors increasingly buy snacks, drinks, seasonings, and other everyday Korean products. Shopping centers, supermarkets, and convenience stores are benefiting from this trend. Travelers are no longer visiting only tourist shopping districts, but are participating more actively in the everyday consumer culture of local residents. K-pop, films, and television series stimulate interest by regularly featuring Korean dishes and products. Many fans want to try these foods themselves or take them home as gifts. K-food is therefore developing into an important economic factor for retail, restaurants, and tourism. KB09, KiiKiii draws inspiration from trends of the 2010s. Five-member girl group KiiKiii has returned to the Korean K-pop scene with its new album, KiiKiii. For the album's concept, the members studied the music, fashion, and everyday culture of the 2010s. These influences were then reinterpreted from the perspective of today's younger generation. The title track, Pop Off, Pop Off, combines a repetitive chorus with energetic choreography. According to the group, the song is intended to convey confidence and encourage listeners to express their individuality regardless of other people's expectations. Following its release, the track entered Korean music charts. KiiKiii is among the new girl groups receiving increasing international attention. Its earlier song for 04, New Era, was already positively reviewed by international music professionals. The new album combines nostalgic elements from the 2010s with contemporary sounds, fashion imagery, and forms of expression associated with younger audiences. In doing so, the group aims to strengthen its distinctive musical identity. KB10 new allegations increase pressure on South Korea's Football Association. The Korea Football Association is facing renewed criticism following the World Cup. The selected video report links allegations of a potentially unfair national team coach selection process with a further controversy involving alleged sexual entertainment. As a result, the association's leadership and internal controls are under growing pressure. The coaching decision had already prompted doubts among supporters and experts about whether sporting criteria, transparency, and equal treatment had been adequately considered. The new scandal reinforces the impression that the association may be facing structural rather than isolated problems. Critics are demanding a full investigation, transparent decision-making processes, and personal accountability from the officials involved. Calls for personnel changes and organizational reforms are also becoming louder. More than the association's public reputation is at stake. The confidence of national team players, clubs, sponsors, and supporters is essential to the future development of Korean football. Until investigations are completed, the matters presented in the report must be treated as allegations. No final responsibility has been established.